Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in a resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow any feelings of worry, stress, or tension to feel like it's leaving your body in your outward breath. Breathing in that resourceful relaxation, exhaling tension, taking you deeper and deeper relaxed. Notice that your eyelids are feeling more relaxed and heavy. Feel a wave of drowsiness start from the top of your head, working its way down. Muscles in your cheek, your jaw, neck and your shoulders, they just start to relax as tension melts away. As your body relaxes, your imagination awakens. Different words get used to describe habits and addictions. And one of them is a chain. Shackles. Most people would describe the future without an addiction as a form of freedom, which implies life with an addiction is some form of trap, prison, or chain holding someone down. And sometimes these chains feel like they're helping. Most people will use an addictive substance because they make an evaluation that it helps in some way. It feels that when life gets stressful or anxious, that it's needed as a coping strategy. But many times it's an illusion. As you breathe in and breathe out, ask yourself the question that if this thing really worked, why would you need to consume it again and again? I want you to feel that this addictive substance is just the illusion of help, not the help itself. I want you to feel that relaxation there in your forehead. Allow the muscles to relax. I want you to imagine you're on a beach in India. Just imagine the sunshine on your skin, palm trees, and imagine you've had a week or two of complete relaxation, tranquility, and calm. And I want you to imagine you're flying back to an airport in London, maybe Heathrow. And I want you to imagine on the journey back, you're lying in a seat. And I want you to think of a future without your addiction. What would it mean for your health? What would it mean for your own sense of confidence, pride, and self-esteem? I want you to think that sometimes small things lead to bigger things, Certain addictions can be gateways to more extreme addictions. And I want you to think of a future where you avoid chain reaction, a sequence of events that takes you to a dark place. Instead, I want you to think of that bright future, a future of freedom, a future of health, and maybe see yourself doing the kind of things that you would do with that newfound energy, vitality, discipline and determination. Maybe you imagine yourself exercising, using a rowing machine, boxing. And if you could imagine that vibrant future where you've replaced an addiction on a substance with the ability to choose a positive, empowering future, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to imagine that future where you're fit and healthy and active. And imagine your son looking at you, this active father, strong, fit and healthy, with a look of pride in his eyes. This is a man that he is proud and will probably emulate those qualities of health, vitality and fitness. And as you imagine being in those airplane seats, imagine an alternative future where the chains were never broken, where the addictions maintained. Imagine yourself a year from now. And I want you to imagine that you're consuming this substance in front of your son. Just observe as you try your hardest to justify and explain why it's needed. Hear the disingenuous tone in your voice, that you don't even believe the words that you're saying. And almost see the expression of your son as he reevaluates what he perceives his father to be. And just imagine that in that moment, a seed was planted in your son's head. And fast forward perhaps 10, 15, 20 years, where your son is experiencing stress or anxiety or overwhelm. And imagine seeing, for the very first time, take a highly addictive substance that could lead to a slippery slope, a chain reaction, a sequence of events that could take him to a very dark, bleak place. And if your unconscious mind knows which of these two futures you would prefer, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to imagine, to get to that desirable future itself requires a sequence of events. And the sequence starts with a decision. Not that you could, not that you should, but that you will do whatever it takes. A decision can precede the actions, but the decision comes first. And if your unconscious mind is now ready to make that decision, to break the shackles and the chains of this addiction once and for all, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to imagine the pathway to your freedom is much like landing a plane on a runway. I want you to think perhaps that one of the ways in which you could land this plane is by tapering down the amount, perhaps over a time frame of just 1 week. that each day the amount gets smaller and smaller. And in the same way that you can't land a plane on two different runways at the same time, I want you to think of the very specific day that it will be the very last day. You've already made the decision. And if you're now willing to set the intention of the very last day, let me know by nodding your head. This is now your runway. You know the day, you know the time, and I want you to imagine in the days leading up to that final day, you're reducing the amounts. And imagine on that very last day, imagine seeing yourself consume what you would normally consume in a lower amount, but solidifying it was the very last time by a ritual, a symbolic gesture to dispose of whatever is left. And if you could imagine seeing yourself doing just that, let me know by nodding your head. And perhaps you've taken the next day off work, and maybe the day after is the start of a weekend. And I want you to observe as you keep yourself busy and stimulated, free of distractions. The kind of distractions that would, in the past, have made you feel stressed or anxious are now replaced with stimulation. Things to keep your attention. Things that remind you why you're doing all this to begin with. Imagine you get through that Friday, the Saturday and the Sunday, and you've had a great weekend. And on that Monday morning, see yourself doing a different morning routine. And if you could imagine what this runway to freedom looks like, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to imagine you are now in the cockpit of this aeroplane approaching Heathrow. I want you to imagine that you know how to land a plane. You get a sense that the weather is quite windy. I want you to get a sense that you will attempt to land the plane. But if for whatever reason you can't, it doesn't mean you give up. There are passengers on this plane that need to get home. All you would do is, if you miss your opportunity to land on the runway at the desired time slot, you go back up, you circle round, and you land at the next opportunity. This isn't an all or nothing. This is you will keep doing what you need to do until the shackles and the chains are completely broken. I want you to feel that you have the resources to get through this period where your body is adjusting. Remember the times that you've dealt with bigger challenges than this. This is something you can do. This is something you want to do. And this is something that benefits you and the people you love the most. And if all parts are now ready to break the chains, to land the plane, let me know by nodding your head. As you feel the weight of the plane going down, you have a good opportunity to hit the runway at the right time and feel an overwhelming sense of relief and accomplishment as you successfully land the plane. And when you leave the cockpit and leave the plane, you realize that you leave the plane as someone different from the version of you that boarded. You boarded with a habit, with an addiction, but you left as a free man, someone with a bright future, someone that becomes a role model that your son is proud to call his father. You are unlocking all of the resources, motivation, determination, resilience, and a ferocious willpower that gets easier with every step of the sequence. The decision, the intention, the actions, and the commitment. And if all the resources required to take your life into an empowering new direction are activated, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to feel that you can return to the present with a sense of hope, optimism, and positive expectation. You've made a decision, set an intention, you have a time frame and a plan, and nothing will stop you from implementing this plan and having a new future, the future you deserve and desire. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, connect fully with the present moment. As I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you, you will awaken feeling resourceful, optimistic, and fiercely determined to do whatever is necessary. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.